For our next topic, our Andys will be debating text versus colour. To set the context, imagine I'm an analyst, and as is typical of me, I've left things till the very last minute. I've got 60 seconds before I have to dash across the office to present in this meeting. I've only got time to make just one change. Should I change the title or the colours to have the biggest impact? Arguing the case for title is Andy Cotgreave.
Thanks, Archana. Obviously, I'd recommend never to leave anything to the last minute, but there
Noted.
we go. We might
I'll
be
try.
in that situation. Right? All right, it's self-evident to me. It's all about the title, right? 100% of the time, the first thing you should change is the title before you change the colour. And I'm going to make this point with 3 different arguments. First of all, let's turn to academia. 2 seminal papers in the field of recent years. Borkin et al. Had this Beyond Memorability paper about recalling particular visualizations. And in there, Borkin wrote, titles are key elements in visualization that help recall the message. More recently, just last year in 2019, Trust and Recall of Information by Kong et al. And in this paper, they said people's recall of visualization's message is more frequently aligned with the title than the visualization. Academia has realized that the titles are almost more important than the vizzes themselves. Secondly, let's have a quick demo, right? Here's a chart. What does it show? No idea. I could use colour to highlight something, but it still doesn't mean anything. You have to add a title. We can start with something extremely basic. Growth rates 2019 to 2020. Great. Or we can take the opportunity in that little tiny sentence to tell a story. This year, all regions have over 20% growth targets. Now with the title, we have understood what it is we're seeing. We could then add colour and enhance the story. Because of Brexit, UK's growth rate is low. But it's the title that communicates to the viewer what they are going to consume. You have to change the title. And my final example is one from politics last year. An example where a title, had it been changed, would have prevented a big storm in a big teacup. Yes, Donald Trump last year used this chart in the White House to show that he was right when he argued that Hurricane Dorian was going to hit Alabama. Of course, the world realised he had used a Sharpie to extend the data. So, bit of a data viz cock-up really, but had that title been Alabama is not forecast to be hit by Dorian, Trump would never have got into that situation in the first place. So therefore, colours, you can change as many as you want, Andy, but the title has to communicate, and that's the first thing I would change if I was you, Archana.
Thank you. And I respect your attempts, Andy. That was a noble attempt, a difficult one to argue for. So you are wrong, and let me tell you why you're wrong. And the first thing to say is that you're wrong because colour impacts everything. Every single pixel on a visualization display has a property of colour. Irrespective of the type of work you're looking at, such as a kind of analysis of a survey, every pixel that I can point to, and I will, every pixel in this James Bond-esque spotlight has colours. You are responsible as the creator for every single colour that you see on that screen. Now, admittedly, this may not be something achievable in 60 seconds, and I'm very sorry to add more work to your display, but what we can do, if we look at this piece, the title has a colour. It's black. The headings of each section have a dark background and then a white foreground. We've got a lower level grey in terms of the subheadings. We've got colours for the data representation parts of the stat bar chart. We've got colours for the headings of each row. We've got some subtle grid lines. Every single thing has colour. And what you're trying to do with this colour is bring out the main important features that the eye should lock onto. In this case, we've got the data dominating, and then the more supporting apparatus is much more subtle. You're making it more accessible for the reader to organise where to look and how to see those values. And the level of intricacy that we need to get to, I think, is captured nicely by this work, by Martin Lambrechts. In this map of Europe, look at all the colour decisions that he's had to make. Let's just look at the map part itself. We've got the colours of the data, the pink through to green. But then we've got the outlines of the countries. We've got to make decisions about the outline of the regions. The dots have a colour. The outlines of the dots have a colour. The longitude and latitude lines have a colour. The sea has a colour. In this case, nothing. And nothing is a colour choice. So the biggest influence, although a title is important, don't get me wrong, and I'll throw you that bone.
Thank you.
Okay? Although title is important, the most important thing to make the biggest difference in visualization is to think carefully about your colours. Bring the most important things to the foreground, make them loud, and then think about volume. Next level down, quieter, quietist, but still included. Case closed.
Was
Not
that a
quite.
mic drop moment?
It was a mic drop. I don't have one to drop, so I'll place the clicker.
May I counter?
Go ahead, yeah.
I need the clicker.
Okay.
I feel like once again you've made the argument for me. Colour is incredibly important. I concede that, and it is a consideration that is vital. But imagine this chart if that title wasn't there. It's just purple and green. Imagine this chart without this thing saying the percent of breakdown of blah, 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 then it's just some really nice colours. So if you haven't changed the title, all the effort you would take into choosing colours is moot because you don't know what you're looking at in the visualization.
Use the word moot in an argument.
I did.
That feels like a case closure as well. Again, strong points. I don't disagree with those. Yes, I acknowledge there are times when you need a very clear title. But if your colours are terrible, the whole thing is off. It's all redundant. As you said before, we can have a title, we can always get rid of the viz. So why do we even bother with all this? In fact, why do we even bother with all this? But, but also,
let's not go down that existential crisis.
But in our channel's case, there's also maybe a fair assumption that the audience knows what they're looking for in terms of the content.
I think you're in a dangerous path with that assumption.
I think it's solid.
I do not. I'm saying all of that is great, but without a title change, it's just colours.
Thank you to both our Andys.
Separate the two of us, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might need to tear you guys apart.
Which would you change first then, Archana?
Oh, you're turning it over to me.
Yeah.
I think, for me, the distinction is the title purely descriptive or telling the story?
Oh, I should have used that argument. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw in another kind of an other option there.
Yeah.
Because I think I like changing the colours if the title does the job of descriptive, telling me what the chart does versus telling me the insight in the title. Okay. So happy medium, happy medium between
very
the
good,
two.
Very good.
I have to stay neutral, of course. I am the moderator. So to wrap up this one, again, it's over to you. Use the buttons below to help me decide which one I should change before I run into that meeting. And of course, get involved with the conversation on Twitter with #DataVizDebate.